Yo, what is going on, guys? Frankie Trades here, bringing you another new weekly stock watch list. Before we get started, though, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it. And with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the watch list. So, first things first, that is on everyone's mind right now is Nvda earnings. The biggest company in the entire world right now, the biggest company in the entire stock market. They report this Wednesday after close. So, obviously, with Nvda having earnings this week, we won't be trading it actively. But obviously, we will be keeping a very close eye on this and seeing how it's going to move throughout the week before earnings and how it's going to affect the market after earnings, especially now that AI bubble has been the #1 search thing on Google as of today. It's going to be something special. You know, Nvidia is paving the way essentially for a lot of the AI chip sector, everything as far as AI and chip making goes. So it'll be really interesting to see where Nvidia takes us this week. But besides that, the only other company that I am keeping an eye out for that could be interesting is Target. I have no idea what Target is currently at. I just know in the past I have traded Target, and every now and then it does provide a good setup. But we'll see where that is currently at on Wednesday before market open and see where that takes us. So that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the watch list. So first things first on ES and NQ, the thing that I want to know with ES is that it is in a choppy range, which sucks, but we do have this amazing uptrend on the daily time frame. This starts on August 1st. So you can see we have bounced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times we have bounced off of it. The sixth time we broke and then ended up closing back above it. But the thing that I want to know with this trend line is we have bounced aggressively every single time we touch it. If you look at all the touches. Now, what I'm looking towards this is, all-time highs isn't too far away. 200 points is a bit for ES, but it's not impossible. Now, with this trend line, you can even draw, let's say, a flat top here if ES would want to stop making new highs every gosh darn a week at this point. You could just draw a flat top here at 69.50 and just say this is an ascending wedge. If that's the case, then you only have two options. Either it keeps making continuous highs, or we come down and break this trend line and break the trend that it's been doing, where we bounce aggressively off of it every single time. So going into this week, I really don't have a level. Really, the only thing I'll be keeping an eye out for ES is anything below 6,700, because that's where the trend line currently lines up on. Or if we come back up, maybe 6,800. If I go to the smaller time frames, there really isn't too much going on with these smaller time frames at all, as you can see. So I say 6,800 because that was the high we made on Friday. So it's a pretty tight range between 6,750 and 6,800 for tomorrow morning for Monday. But as far as the week goes, definitely 6,700 and anything below that. So next up is NQ. NQ is a little bit more clear. Good thing. Now, I don't remember if this is on the 4-hour or the daily. I think it is on the daily. Let me see this. So yeah, NQ on the daily, I will be more focused. Oh, actually, both sides do look pretty clear here from what I remember. So for the upside, I'm looking at 25,800, roughly 700 points away. And then for the downside, first area that I will be looking at will be 24,600. Now that's roughly 600 to 700 points away. So roughly the same way for both sides. Now the good thing is it is a clear support and resistance that makes this really clear. So as far as NQ goes, again, I'll be looking at 25,800. And then as far as the downside goes, I'll be looking at 24,600. And then post 24,600, since there are a lot more clear supports and there are resistance to the upside, the next level that I'll be watching is 24,400. So pretty straightforward on NQ as far as the levels go. So NQ is pretty clear. Now, since Nvda is reporting this week, I will just be going over the stock really quickly. It is in no man's land currently, so even if we did want to trade this with how liquid Nvda is, there is nothing, and I mean nothing, to trade on this. Unless it develops some sort of pre-market setup where maybe, let's say, the market is for, let's put this in two scenarios, where the market's really weak and Nvda has some sort of flat top and it's showing that it's up from pre-market. Maybe that's something to look at. Or vice versa, if the market is really strong and Nvda is really weak and it created some sort of flat bottom during pre-market, then it's something else we can look at, right? But for the current moment of where Nvda is currently sitting at, there are 0 levels that I'm interested on trading this. So just an honorable mention, since this has earnings this week and we don't typically trade stocks that have earnings, but with Nvda being so liquid, that could always be an option. Never know. If you're part of Stock Hours and you're actually in the group and enjoying our trading lives, our pre-market sessions that we do every single morning, then you'll be able to see what we're looking at every single day. But for the meantime, for the entire week outlook, this has nothing to relevance to me besides, it reporting earnings. The only stock I have on my watch list that is worth noting and looking at is Meta. This was weak on Friday, so it is something I will be keeping a close eye on. with Meta here, to the upside, I hate using reused levels. That's just a personal preference of mine. With Meta, I just have a bad history of trading into the upside when we're in pretty reused areas. So for the meantime, I will be looking at either a retest at 600 for a downside or a continuation at 595 to the downside for Meta. Now, the only honorable mention that I have on my list here is Apple, just so the watches isn't too short. Apple here, if I put this on the 1 hour, you can see that we have a downtrend that breaks at around 276. Now, there are two ways you could trade this. With how strong Apple has shown recently, especially some days where the market has been dropping aggressively and Apple has actually showed a lot of strength. I know Nor has been capitalizing on that a lot on Apple. He could look at an entry at 276. I would totally understand that and why he would look at that. For me personally, I would just be looking for a 277 break at around this entry at 276.70. Target would probably most likely be around that 277.20 area. A quick 50-cent move on Apple. Who knows how that will react when we get up there. But I'm looking to play things safe. A 50-cent move on Apple is more than enough. That would probably pay around 20%, honestly, with how cheap contracts Apple are and how slow the stock moves. The stock generally doesn't move a lot. So the ATR and how the contracts move alongside that, it'll be more than enough if the move plays out properly. So, but yeah, that's the honorable mention right there. And that is pretty much it for the watch list. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And before you go, though, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate it. With that being said, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday and have a fantastic week. Peace out.